Welcome class 12 commerce students. Today in this class I will discuss about the principles of direction. Principles of direction, as you can see I have written in the board. Principles of direction will be the topic of discussion for today. So following principles are generally adhered to make a directing function an effective function and a meaningful function. So following are the principles to be followed. Um, First one is unity of command. First point of this principle is unity of command. What is unity of command? A subordinate should get order and instruction from one boss or one superior. In other words, one employee should be accountable to only one superior for a particular task. Activities can be controlled effectively by adopting this principle, because if there are multiple boss, if there are multiple superior, then it can create confusion whose order to be followed and whose order is not to be followed. So it is better that direction should come from one boss, one head, or one superior. So unity of command should come from one head. Second point is unity of direction. Unity of direction. What does this mean? There should be one superior boss and one plan of action for a group of activities which are similar in nature and have same objectives. Duplication and repetition of activities can be reduced by adopting this principle of direction. There should be no duplication. There should be one plan of action that is to be followed by the subordinates and commanded under it is commanded by one superior only, one boss only. So one plan of action. Unity of command means one boss or one head or one superior, and unity of direction means one line of action or one plan of action to be followed. So these two are correlated, interrelated principles of direction. Number 3 point will be direct supervision. Direct supervision. Direct supervision means the superior should maintain direct contact with his subordinates. This makes communication easier, clear, encourages the feedback and faster decision making. As a result, subordinates feel happy and satisfied and contribute more towards the accomplishment of organizational goals. If there is a middleman, if there is a messenger who conveying, then the version of information can change. So there should be a direct communication to avoid any kind of chaos and confusion or any kind of doubts among any information transformation. So there should be a direct link between the boss and the subordinates. The boss should directly supervise the subordinate in order to clear his doubts and in order to give any instruction or give any order to his subordinate directly. So there should be direct communication or direct supervision. Next is participative leadership. Leadership should be participative in nature. Participative leadership means subordinates are to be taken into confidence and should be consulted at least in some matters which are related to them. Subordinates become more loyal and sincere if the superior respects and listen to their views and their opinions. Their views and opinions should be given importance, and so their involvement, the involvement of the subordinate is utterly important. So all the superiors, all the supervisors must try to make the subordinates participate in the decision making process or in the action plan, because if they feel that they are getting involved this is a sense of involvement is created in the subordinates, and that they feel respected. Their self-confidence is thus raised if they feel that they are getting participated in the action. They feel a sense of involvement in the action. So participative leadership, rather than autocratic leadership, rather than any other type like democratic leadership, participative leadership should be encouraged. Next is motivation. Every employee should be inspired. Motivation means giving inspiration, motivating them to work. So employees volunteer themselves for the attainment of organizational. If they are properly motivated, motivation inspires the employees to contribute fully towards the well-being of any organization. So motivation creates enthusiasm among the subordinates. Next is integrating objectives. Integrating objective means a manager must try to reconcile the personal objective of subordinates with organizational objective. Any conflict in personal and organizational objective must be synchronized. An effective direction depends on harmony of all the above objectives mentioned. So integration of objective, the personal objective and the organizational objective should be equalized. For this is very important for the fullest contribution of the subordinates into the accomplishment of organizational goals. Next is follow through. Now this follow through is the last point of all the principles of direction. It is necessary to take up some follow through actions by the superior or the boss in order to make directing more effective. Proper follow through of performances ensures that the work is being performed as desired, that is according to the plan. It has been performed according to the plan. So a manager must check the performances of his subordinates and guide them to follow the suitable course of action for doing any job. So follow up is necessary at the end of all the principles. Follow through or follow up is necessary. So this is another, the most and the last but not the least important principles of directing. So all these points contribute towards the answer, what are the principles of directing, and you need to write all these points whenever you will be asked the question of what are the principles of directing. So in my next class, this topic ends today, and in my next video I am going to discuss with you the different importance of directing, how directing helps, how it is, why it is so important, what are the scopes of this direction. So till then, goodbye.